I've got to finish this thing about Oliver North, who came out of his crawl space the other night and complained that Barack Obama didn't seek congressional authorization before intervening in Libya, which, in the strictest sense, he did not. But then North puts a noose around his own neck, and he says, quite frankly, it's unparalleled in my entire experience in the military, going all the way back to the 1960s. Every president's gone to Congress to get a resolution to support whatever it is he wanted to do, and Obama doesn't ask the Congress because he doesn't know what he wants to do, blah, 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 blah. Oliver North was a convicted felon. His conviction was overturned because testimony that had been sanitized, or whatever the hell the word is, that he gave before Congress was used to convict him, and that's a no-no. If you say before Congress, you can't use it in a criminal court, so no, he may be guilty, but he's not going to serve any time. Anyway, it was Oliver North who, while serving as a Marine colonel in Reagan's White House, helped run a secret and illegal operation to sell weapons to Iran, tow missiles, and used the proceeds to support a CIA-created group of terrorists in Nicaragua that were trying to overthrow the duly elected government of Daniel Ortega, who was a socialist. Now, beyond simply not authorizing this filthy scheme, the U.S. Congress had explicitly prohibited it in what was referred to at the time as the Boland Amendment. Here's how independent counsel Lawrence Walsh, a Republican, described the Reagan administration's violations of U.S. law and efforts to deceive Congress in the Iran-Contra scandal. The Iran-Contra scandal concerned two secret Reagan administration policies whose operations were coordinated by National Security Council staff. The Iran operation involved efforts in 1985 and 86 to obtain the release of Americans held hostage in the Middle East through the sale of U.S. weapons to Iran, despite an embargo on such sales. The Contra operation from 1983 through most of 1986 involved the secret government support of Contra military and paramilitary activities in Nicaragua, despite congressional prohibition of the support. The Iran and the Contra operations were merged when funds generated from the sale of weapons to Iran were diverted to support the Contra effort in Nicaragua. Although this so-called diversion may be the most dramatic aspect of Iran-Contra, it is important to emphasize that both the Iran and the Contra operations, separately, violated U.S. law. The ignorance of the diversion asserted by President Reagan and his cabinet officers on the National Security Council in no way absolves them of responsibility for the underlying Iran and Contra operations, and so on. Oliver North was the linchpin in that operation. He was one of the ass-kissing, apple-polishing, up-and-coming colonels in the military. And he was also a criminal, an absolute criminal. When this whole thing started to unravel with people like John Poindexter, does that name mean anything to you? Elliot Abrams, that name mean anything to you? Oliver North? When it started to unwind, North returned to his office in the early evening of November 21st, 1986, and started shredding stacks of memoranda and messages with his secretary. What was her name? Fawn Hall. And destroying evidence. Ed Meese, who at the time was, I think he was still Attorney General. He may have graduated to be Reagan's senior advisor, but I think he was Attorney General. He oversaw the destruction of documents that led right to Reagan. Even if Ronald Reagan was unaware, because as Ron Jr. says, at the time, he was starting to suffer the effects of Alzheimer's, maybe. But even if he didn't understand, Ronald Reagan was used by these people. But Oliver North, for this cowardly son of a bitch, this disgrace to the United States Marine Corps, this man who took an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States, and then just unzipped his fly and urinated all over that document in order to satisfy his right-wing fascist inclinations. This thug, this Sean Hannity-loving punk, Oliver North, has the absolute temerity to suggest that it's unparalleled in his entire experience in the military, going all the way back to the 60s, where a president has not gone to Congress to get a resolution to support this kind of action. You lying dog. You lying piece of human waste. Oliver North, a disgrace to the Marine Corps and a thug.